Story 1. I'm a 20-year-old female with a 3-month-old son. We took our son to the park for the first time. They have swings good for little babies, so we had him in there. He absolutely loved it. By the way, there was an older lady there with 3 kids, presumably her grandchildren, because they were quite young, and she seemed my grandma's age. She was eyeing us up since the moment we got there. My fiancé is a smoker, and he's not allowed anywhere near the baby while smoking. So he went to the baseball fields to sit and smoke. This is a decent distance away.
Even though this is a very small town.
I didn't know the woman as we didn't live in the town that we are currently in. We live in the biggest town in the area, but I was very familiar with this town as I lived here for many years when I was younger, so he was fine with leaving us alone. I just was not familiar enough to know the people anymore. My step-grandparents also lived here, so I felt comfortable. After my fiancée had gone over to the ballpark, this lady approached me and began talking to me. She asked me how I liked babysitting. I laughed and told her I wasn't babysitting. This was my son. This set her off. She grabbed a hold of my wrist and told me not to lie to her, that I'm too young for this to be my son, and that she didn't believe me. She told me if I didn't produce valid forms of identity for both of us, she would call the police for kidnapping. Here's the issue with that. I don't carry my wallet on me that often, and the only form of identification I have for my son is his insurance card, as his birth certificate and social security card have not come in yet due to everything being bogged down from the virus. I told the lady that, and she tightened her grip on my wrist, stating that it's a lie because they give you documents at the hospital, which they don't. It escalated to the point where she shoved me down and tried to grab my son, stating that she would hold on to him until the police arrived. I quickly got up and grabbed my son from her. I didn't punch her, but I did sort of palm her nose, which I guess I did harder than I meant to, as she started bleeding. She yelled at me that she was going to press charges for assault. My fiancé was making his way back during this time and caught the tail end of the confrontation. Skipping ahead to when the police showed up, they were talking to each of us, but the old lady wouldn't stop screeching. So they took her farther away to talk. I was in complete fight mode and terrified. I was frantically explaining that I didn't have an ID. But this is my son. We just came here to the park to play. If there was any way I could prove I was the mother of my son, I showed him a photo of him being pulled from me C-section and him on my chest a few hours later. Obviously, he looks different now, but you can tell it's the same baby. We were allowed to go home and were told we'd be hearing from someone about the assault and charges against the woman. We went to a lawyer who instructed us not to really talk about the case going forward, but there will be charges pressed against the woman and possibly against the police involved, as what they did during the situation was apparently very illegal. Update. We set up an appointment with a lawyer for this Monday and will be going to the police station later today. We called ahead and made an appointment for 3. It's noon currently. Someone had mentioned seeing if the park had cameras. I was pretty sure they didn't, as it's a very small area, but I called anyway, and it turns out they did. They agreed to send a copy of the footage to me, but they only have a couple, so I'm not sure if what happened was caught on tape, as the cameras are near the pavilion, and the swings are off to the side. I know I should have reacted better, but I was in such shock, and it happened so fast. I feel very guilty for not protecting my son, and I'd appreciate it if the comments about me doing a poor job would stop, please. Story 2. Since my last train stories seem to be entertaining, I'll share another one. This happened around a month ago on my commute back home. The train was pretty full, but considering the current state of public transport in Germany, it was rather empty compared to usual. Only a few people were standing by choice, and there were a good number of empty seats. I sat down next to a nice lady. On my right, there was a very gorgeous girl, I'd guess around 25, using 2 seats. She had a huge suitcase that clearly didn't fit into the luggage compartment overhead. For obvious safety reasons, it's forbidden to keep luggage in the walkway. About 5 minutes after departure, an older man with a suitcase walked between us and stopped to lift his suitcase into the luggage compartment right above the girl. He then stood there, facing her and waiting for something. I watched the scene, confused. Clearing his throat, he asked her to move her suitcase so he could sit down. The following conversation is paraphrased since it's been a while since it happened. Older man: please move your luggage so people can use this seat. Gorgeous girl: I'm sorry, but I can't leave it in the walkway. Older man: then put it in the luggage compartment like everybody else. Gorgeous girl: it doesn't fit. It really didn't. The suitcase was at least twice as big as the luggage that could fit in there. The older man's suitcase was tiny compared to hers. Older man, don't be ridiculous. Mine fit, so yours should too. Gorgeous girl, I'm sorry, it won't fit. There are quite a few free seats here, though. She points to at least 5 empty seats in our section, one of them literally only 2 rows behind her. Older man, silly girl, can't you see I've already put my suitcase in the luggage compartment here? Gorgeous girl, then move it to the empty seat, or leave it here. It's only 2 rows away. No one will touch it. Older man, no, I want to sit here, so move your suitcase. Now. With every back and forth, the older man got louder and louder. At this point, our entire section was watching the scene unfold. One nice man decided to get involved. Nice man. Sir, you need to calm down. Just take one of the free seats. It's obvious she can't move the suitcase. Older man, keep your nose out of other people's business. How dare you? Me? With the way you are yelling and making a scene, you are making it our business. The girl, clearly uncomfortable, decided to just ignore the situation to not escalate it. But that only made it worse. Older man, don't ignore me. Young lady, who do you think you are? Sitting there dressed like that. You need to respect elders. Gorgeous girl, to get respect, you need to give respect. Why should I respect someone like you? At this point, the older man reached an extreme volume level. He was screaming from the top of his lungs, demanding the seat. Other people got involved. It was a yelling contest, a heated back and forth, until the man pulled out his last resort, racism. I wouldn't have assumed the girl had any other nationality than German because you couldn't really tell if she was anything else. Not that it would have been important anyway. But for some reason, the man deemed her non-German. He started yelling the usual racist comments you'd expect. Get back to your country. Scum like you shouldn't disrespect us Germans like this, etc. But the one that really caught everyone off guard was, you are in Germany. Speak German. Which? The girl spoke perfect German, accent-free, dialect-free. The old man, on the other hand, spoke with a strong dialect. Bavarian. Everyone involved ate that up immediately, turning the table on him. Nice man. And you are in NRW. Speak High German. Or Cologne dialect, you prick. This whole thing went on for a good while until the older man started kicking Gorgeous Girl's suitcase before trying to pull it out into the walkway, swinging his arms at Gorgeous Girl in the process. Multiple people stood up at that, getting between older man and Gorgeous Girl. We threatened to call the police for assault, and that finally seemed to do the trick. Pissed off, furious, the man grabbed his suitcase, accidentally hitting himself with it, and stormed off into another section of the train, all the while yelling profanities and racist comments. The poor girl was visibly shaken up by the whole thing, but everyone calmed down as soon as he left. It was a really bad situation, but it was very nice to see everybody standing up for someone being bullied. Story 3. Many years ago, a female was dating someone male who hurt me, humiliated me, and didn't stop to think how it could backfire on him. He pursued me, I liked him, and we hit it off. We spent lots of time together, dinners, going out, many nights at his place, etc. We were dating, and everything seemed great. Well, some time into dating, he hurt me. I discovered lies, secrets, and other women. He was also really mean and hurtful to me when I found this out. I realized it was all lies and games to him. I was sincerely heartbroken and disappointed in him. As my last communication to him, I decided to email him instead of speaking to him over the phone. I went through the disappointment I had in him, wasting my time and emotions, etc. It was my closure with him. I started getting notices in my email account, and at first I thought they were spam, not bothering to see what the emails were about. I finally took a look to see what was going on, and my heart dropped. He had forwarded my email to all his friends, a group of male and female friends, couples, singles, a lifetime group of friends, best of friends. They were going back and forth laughing at me, mocking me, calling me pathetic, saying I deserved the pain for being silly for trusting him. It just went on, and I was included in all the replies. It was horrible. I cried for a minute until I realized something. I realized I had in possession the red flags I had ignored. It hit me at that moment, all the things he had said about his group of friends, all the stories I had heard, all the secrets I knew. That's right. I gathered myself, poured a nice drink, laughed, and said, It's on, I replied to the group email, saying, I'm glad you guys have found my hurt entertaining, my personal life not respected, and your friend's behavior acceptable. My expressing myself to him and how things ended is not shameful. What he did with my email and me is shameful. But since you guys enjoy this type of entertainment, I figured why not join in on the fun. I went through the whole list of friends. So and so, you're not included in any activities and invites because they think your wife emasculated you, and no one respects you anymore. Also, to his wife, no one likes you. They think you're stuck up and laugh at you because that rock you flaunt is glass, not a real diamond or any other real stone. For the one that says I deserve to be treated this way and hurt, aren't you the one that just had her violent, abusive boyfriend destroy your whole apartment for the what time in a row already? Didn't you go crying to your friends about it? I guess you must have deserved it as well, huh? And just so you know, everyone thinks you're an idiot too for being with the guy that treated you that way. Welcome to the club. I went through the list and revealed everything, every secret, everything they thought and said about each other, everything they didn't know and didn't want others to know. I ended it with, wow, this was fun. I'm glad we did this. I feel so much better now. And if anyone is hurt, upset, feels violated, humiliated, angry, don't bother emailing me. Talk to your little friend that thought this was a great idea. And also remember, you guys thought it was a great idea and fun as well. The silence after that was the sweetest sound ever. Months after that, he messaged me, tried apologizing, told me all his friends dropped him. He had nowhere to stay, and asked if he could sleep on my couch. Nope. He tried reaching out a few times throughout the years, trying to make amends, explaining that he lost everyone after that. That group of lifelong friends was done. He had his own place, was working, etc. But he was alone. Edit. That whole group disintegrated instantly from what he said. It was chaos. Relationships ended. No one remained friends after that. The only thing they were in agreement with was that they hated him. Story 4. This happened to a family member and is my favorite legal mess-up story. My family member was a partner in a law firm. The way a lot of law firms work is that partners who retire get a pension. It's based on their last few years' average salary or something similar. This only applies if you truly retire and not go work somewhere else, and my family member was not near retiring. The two other partners who were in his area of practice at this firm decided to push him out. Instead of trying to come to an agreement for him to leave, they ambushed him in a meeting where they had already drafted exit documents for him to sign. They included some token severance, but basically said, pack your things or we are going to make this a huge hostile thing and drag your name through the mud, etc. There is a non-compete clause in a lot of partnership agreements, so you can't leave and take clients and go work somewhere else right away if you're a partner. In their haste to prepare these documents, they negated a bunch of these clauses so he would be able to work at another firm without waiting for the non-compete period. But they missed that some of those clauses also govern the part of the pension clause that doesn't let you get the pension if you work for another firm after you leave. Basically, they wrote documents that gave him a pension way early and for the rest of his life, based on some really good years he'd had for the firm. He noticed this when he read them because he's a good lawyer and knew they messed up. He also knew he would be able to get a job pretty easily, so instead of negotiating or fighting, he just signed them as is and left. They were very surprised, expecting a huge fight or a long negotiation. He ended up getting another job pretty quickly at a different law firm. He waited a couple of months and then called one of the other partners and said something like, "So when are you going to start making the payments?" At his age when this happened, they would have had to pay him a large amount of money every year for maybe 40-50 years. They basically crapped their pants. Once they went back through and realized what they had forced him to sign, they started making offers to buy him out of his pension. He eventually settled for a multi-million-dollar payout, all because he signed the documents they put in front of him.